multiplication and division. Stuff we didn't do, and I said we would come back to it, is the addition and subtraction. Because addition and subtraction of functions is a little trickier. How do you add and subtract functions? What do you need to add and subtract functions? Common denominator. So we're just going to do the first one here. How do you get a common denominator between 3 and 5? So it's 15, right? So we want to get this one. We multiply top and bottom by 15, and this one top and bottom times 5. So you would get 10 over 15 plus 6 over 15. And then when you're actually adding them, what do you combine? Just the numerators. So you get 16 over 15. All right, we all did that in, I don't know what grade you learned that, but there's another way you can do it that helps out when you're dealing with what we're going to deal with in a sec here is, let's write it over here. We're not going to do that one. 2 over 3 plus 2 over 5. Basically, if you just multiply the denominators together, all right? Whoops. Go away. There we go. If I just, 3 times 5 is 15. And then multiply that 5 times the 2. And this 3 times the 2. That's what we did over here. This is just a quicker way to do it, especially when we're going to deal with rational expressions here in a sec. So you get 10 plus 6 over 15, 16 over 15. You get the exact same answer. Okay? But the key is you need a common denominator when you're adding or subtracting fractions. We're on page 361, everybody that came in. That sucks. All right, so we're going to go to the bottom here. And now they're slightly more complex. The numerators have polynomial expressions in them. Okay? But the denominators are still numbers. So let's deal with C. What is there's two, we'll do both ways here. Okay? What's the common denominator between 8 and 3? 24? Okay. 3 doesn't go into 16. So 24. So this one here, I have to multiply top and bottom by 8. And this one, top and bottom by 3. The only trick when you're dealing with these types of equations is when you multiply that 3 in, it's going to both of those terms, the whole numerator. And same with the 8 here. So now we get 3 times 8 here is 24y minus 9 over 24 minus, and the 8 gets multiplied in here, 16y plus 8 over 24. Does that make sense so far? Okay. The only other trick here is when you're subtracting, it means you're subtracting that whole thing. Okay, so if I was to put this over one single denominator, it would look like this, 24y minus 9. Now, obviously, I'm showing every single step. You can shorten this if it makes sense to you. Minus 16y plus 8. So then it's 24 minus 16, which is 8. Negative 9 minus 8, which is negative 17. if you were going to do it the shortcut, I won't even call it a shortcut, but sorry, the quick and dirty method, whatever you want to call it. You can essentially just multiply the 3 up, multiply the 8 up, and put it all over 8 times 3, which is 24. So it's going to be 3 times 8y minus 3 minus 8 times 2y plus 1. And then expand this, and you will get that. Okay? Is that okay? It's the exact same stuff you've been doing, except the fractions look a little different. That's it. Okay, I'm just gonna give you a couple questions and then move on to the next bit. So all I want you to do is number 1, E and F. There isn't. I'm using a different. Oh, 2. Sorry, 2 E and F. There we go. Number 2 E and F. That makes way more sense. And number 4. A to C. 4 already has common denominator. So. Okay, those, and then we'll move on to the next bit. Polynomials. So they have variables in them. If you have variables in the denominator, what does that mean you have? And you have NPVs, you have domain restrictions, okay? So we won't do A, we'll do B and C. You still need a common denominator. To get your common denominator, do what we did back here. Instead of doing this method, which you can do and it works every single time, just essentially munch the denominators together and then multiply them up. Okay, so it's a faster method. So the common denominator here is going to be 2y plus 5 times y minus 3. It's the denominators multiplied together. This one, you just need to multiply by y minus 3 on top and bottom. That's technically what you would do, right? To get your common denominator. The shortcut is to bring this and just multiply it up. So you would just write 4 times y minus 3. And then this one would normally be multiplied by 2y plus 5 on the top and the bottom. You just bring that and multiply it by that. But remember, there's a negative there, so it's minus 1 times 2y plus 5. And then you just expand the top and collect your like terms, and you're done. Don't expand the bottom. Don't multiply out the bottom. Okay? So the 4 gets multiplied in. 4y minus 12. Negative 1 goes in. Sorry? Yep. So 4y and negative 2y is 2y. Negative 12, negative 5 is negative 17. So this is the simplified expression. Yeah. Because I'm going to ask you right now what the MPVs are. All right, it's easy to see them when they're in brackets, and you'll see in math 12, the bottom what we call the NPVs right now in Math 12, those are vertical asymptotes. Doesn't mean anything to you right now, but it's a piece of information about the graph, because in Math 12, we start to graph these things. So leaving it in factored form, it makes it easy to spot the vertical asymptotes and things like that. So the NPVs are negative 2. Did you say negative 2.5? Negative 2.5 or negative 5 halves and 3. Yeah. So there's your NPVs. You always have NPVs with rational expressions. You can write them right at the beginning. Like looking at C, what would my NPVs be? 5 and negative 1. Okay. What's my common denominator? Just put the bottoms together. So the common denominator is x minus 5 times x plus 1. That's your common denominator. Remember, this one gets multiplied up there, so you get 2x plus 1 times x plus 1 minus x minus 5 times x minus 4. Yeah, you're going to have to FOIL the top, which is, I'll just tell you what it is right now. You will have to FOIL this, okay? But the top will become, the first bit will be 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 minus, and because there's a subtraction sign here, FOIL those two and then add the subtraction sign in. So it's going to be x squared minus 9x plus 20, all in brackets. Again, don't multiply out the bottom. And then you collect your like terms. So 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. 3x minus negative 9x is 3x plus 9x. 12 and 1 minus 20 is negative 19. So it's the same stuff, it's just with binomials, basically, right? Or polynomials. Are there any questions about that? Put the bottoms together and cross multiply them up. And then collect all your like terms on the top, leave the bottom alone, write your NPVs. Number 7, A and B, and number 8, B, please. And this lesson is over.